Hey guys, it's Anthony Bandier here, broadcasting from Aurora, Illinois, from the hotel, and I had some time on my hands, so I wanted to talk about some questions that I got. The first one is that I made a video, episode 765, about medical marijuana, and I basically said, all right, look, if your state has not legalized recreational use marijuana, but they have legalized medical marijuana, and you pull somebody over in a vehicle that has medical marijuana and they have the card and they presumably are complying with all the laws, you are not able to search their vehicle just to make sure that they're complying with the law or because marijuana is still illegal recreationally. And I stand by that even now more than ever. But the reason I'm bringing up this video is because an officer in Oklahoma, one of my followers, said, well, look, there is a debate in this state because we have a case, a somewhat recent case called State versus Roberson. It's from June of 2021 by the Court of Criminal Appeals of Oklahoma. And there's a debate out there that seems that they're saying the opposite. And so what happened here is that Roberson was pulled over and he admitted that he had a marijuana cigarette in his ashtray. And so, right, so presumably he admits to having the marijuana, and the cop gets in the car and he searches it. And while he's actually in there, after he makes the entry, the officer starts smelling raw marijuana. Well, that sets off a chain of events for criminal activity against Roberson. He was involved in other things much more serious than marijuana. And when he went to court, he said, well, that was a bad search because that could be medical marijuana. Well, it could be, but that's really and the court did not buy it. And they didn't buy it because under the totality of the circumstances of this case. And so I think, when I read the opinion, I got to tell you that I think it could have been written a little better. Because if I was a cop, without a lot of legal training, I would read this case and I would take some snippets out of it. And it seems to, when you take those snippets out of it, it seems to stand for the proposition that the smell of marijuana is still, a valid search regardless of their medical marijuana status. But no, I don't want you to think that way. And I'm going to try to convince you otherwise. So I'm going to explain to you some of the things that Roberson brought up. Now, first of all, they did bring up a case from Maryland, and that case is Robinson versus State. It's a case from 2017 where the court said that even though Maryland has decriminalized marijuana, it still is lawful to search for that marijuana and so forth. And so if you read that, you're thinking, well, Anthony, that goes directly against what you just said because Maryland is saying it's okay. The problem here is actually when you read Robinson, it doesn't quite say that. The reason why they still allowed searches in Maryland, even though it's been decriminalized, because it was still illegal. It was still a fine. It was not something that was lawful to possess. It just didn't result in a criminal charge. So the judge there said that even though you can't go to jail for possessing marijuana, it's still not lawful. You still have a penalty by the government, which is like, $100 fine or whatever. So that's one key. Now, the other thing to remember is now Maryland recently, after Robinson, has completely not only decriminalized it because it was already decriminalized, but they also no longer fine you civilly for even having any marijuana. And now in Maryland, you cannot search the car at all with just because you smell marijuana. You would still have to have some other violation, a smoking while driving violation, some kind of open container violation with the marijuana. An officer articulating that, hey, this guy has way more than the allotted amount based on what I can smell and what I can see and so forth. In other words, this unfortunately the Oklahoma case seems to kind of misinterpreted what really Maryland was saying, in my view. The other thing about this is don't forget what the court has also said, and they said when no medical marijuana license is involved, possession of marijuana is prohibited versus this section of law. But listen to what they just said. They said when no medical marijuana license is involved. Did you hear anything about Roberson providing a license to the officer? And even if he did provide a license, I would presume that having a marijuana cigarette in the ashtray is a fair probability that he's smoking while driving. You might even have a DUI investigation. But listen to what the court said. They did not say that, hey, no matter what, you can always search cars. But the other thing I want to tell you is they say this. The law says this, it shall be unlawful for any person knowingly or intentionally to possess a controlled dangerous substance unless, listen to me, unless such substance was obtained directly or pursuant to a valid prescription or order from a practitioner while acting in the course of his or her professional practice. Okay, so the point is, the law obviously is saying that it is not against the law to possess medical marijuana if you have that license. And now let's talk about the Fourth Amendment. No state can allow a search of a vehicle when there is no probable cause. So if the law says that it's legal to have medical marijuana, then there is no probable cause to search that vehicle if you believe they are carrying lawfully under the act. But just obviously we need the onus is on the driver to prove to you that they have medical marijuana, and that you have no other evidence that they're violating the law. So I'm just telling you as a baseline thing, no state can say, okay, no state can say marijuana is legal in this state. And let's just say decriminalized totally. But an officer can still search the car just to make sure the marijuana is legally possessed and they're not possessing over the legal amount. It's in the proper container and so forth. They cannot do that. Why? Because that would be a compliance check. And courts from the 70s have held that you can't stop a vehicle just to make sure that they're not violating the law. Okay, there was a case out there, where cops are like stopping vehicles to make sure they had a proper license and so forth. And clearly, we can agree that that's illegal. But why is that any different than medical marijuana? Besides that, the marijuana, it has a different kind of character to it, right? It's still illegal in some other states and federally and so forth. But you're not a federal officer unless you've been deputized. But the point is, think about that. How are you searching a car without probable cause? If they give you the paperwork, if there's no reason to believe the old lady with cataracts, whatever it is, right? And she's sober, she's not under the influence. She has the medical marijuana. It's contained in a container per Oklahoma law, whatever that is. I haven't looked it up. And that's all you have. You're not searching the old lady's car, period. And so, if you are, you're violating her rights. Okay. And maybe you'll get qualified immunity or something based on this Roberson case. But just think about it. If somebody told you, if you pulled a car over and they said, I have, I have prescription pills in my car, right? You see, another example is you see a bottle of a prescription pill bottle. That's all you see, okay? Can you go into that car and look at those pills and make sure that they're prescribed to the driver and make sure that they're not abusing them? No. Can you? Okay. Can you? You see a pack of cigarettes, okay, in on top of the passenger seat. Can you go into that car and pick up that pack of cigarettes and make sure that it has a tax sticker and it's not a black market cigarette? Can you, if they have alcohol in the trunk, can you open up the trunk and make sure that the alcohol has also been taxed appropriately? Of course not. Can you look at their laptop computer and can you run the serial number to make sure it's not stolen? So the point is, when you're looking at these cases, try to view it from that point. And when I teach a lot of students, I teach basic framework issues. I'm just setting the floor here. I'm saying that if you have nothing more than a person lawfully possessing marijuana under their medical marijuana card, you're not getting in that car. The other thing that the court said is that, while the production of medical marijuana license may constitute an affirmative defense of the crime, in this case, the officer's determination of probable cause was not affected given the totality of the circumstances. So I think that this is the right case, the right answer. Of course, the officer had probable cause. Um, but please, try to read the whole case, totality of circumstances. Look at the whole thing. And the next time you pull over a car, and most of the time it's not going to be an issue because you're going to have probable cause. But if you pull over a car and the person is presumably complying with all Oklahoma medical marijuana law, and you got nothing else, you have no abnormal nervousness, you have no deception, you have nothing in plain view, I do not think you have the authority to search that car. And if you do, at the end of the day, if those are your facts, you are going to lose, at least at a higher level. A court, if the Oklahoma thinks that this is okay, they're going to be corrected by the 10th Circuit because it's not okay. It's not probable cause. It violates the Fourth Amendment. So I hope this discussion has helped you. Please just think about it. If you want to still do business and you're like, I disagree with Anthony, that's your choice. That's why we have these videos to have a mature discussion. But I'm also very passionate about not violating people's rights, and you know where my position is on this. Even though, as far as marijuana in general, I have my strong views on it, but that's not important for a discussion here, right? So if you have any questions about this or anything else I teach, leave in the comments. You can reach out to us to bluetogold.com. Please share this video with your friends, especially my officers in Oklahoma or anywhere else that has medical marijuana, but no recreational use. I think this video can at least help you think about how the court should and probably will look at these factors. Until next time, my friends, you stay safe.